Hey everybody, welcome back to Callus Crew Challenge, round of 32, also known as round 1. This is another match-deciding game set. You guys have seen the previous matches, or at least parts of it. You should have. I'm going to spoil it for you. But the videos are already up. You may have seen Arctic defeat D's cast forms. However, you may have already also seen Amir defeat Sky Penguin, and that means that the outcome here is going to decide the fate of both teams. It's going to be K3NIX on the bottom as Eduardo Carapinga, and it's going to be Hakuho Sho. That would be Cherryb0ng on the top. Like I said, 1-1, the winner here, and apparently this is a bit of a beef battle. Apparently these guys have some history and don't overly get along or care for each other. But the winner here is going to put their team through to the next round, and the loser is going to be eliminated. Looking forward to it. Best of 3 GSC. Prepare your next 2 hours. K3NIX on the bottom, Cherryb0ng on the top. Nidoking and Eggy. Neither one comfortable. We end up with Zapdos on Lax. They are both comfortable here. Ends up being T-Bolt and Double Edge. Lax, of course, gets the better end. T-Bolt again. And Double Edge again. Dangerous game K3NIX is playing here. Critical hit would be Bad News Bears, but obviously he's going to go for rest. And so is Lax. So here we go. Both of them going to take a nap. And they both go to their Spiker, which happens to be the same Spiker in Fortress. And he scouts for HP Fire, which good thing he does, because that would be devastating to the other Fori. Not so bad on Executor, only 27% despite being super effective. He gets a Psychic off, and out of the way he goes. We end up with 2 Sleeping Pokes staring each other down. Fori back in again. Sleep Talk Rest, sure, no harm, no foul. Should be able to establish a spike here without any issue. And indeed, that is what happens as Executor comes back in. It is a double switch, however, from Cherryb0ng to get his Fori back in. See if he opts for Spikes or Rapid Spin. And it is the aggressive play in Spikes. Not only because it's very important to establish that, but he doesn't want to Rapid Spin into a Ghost. That is a thing all the way back, even in Gen 2. Though the Ghost options are pretty limited. You're looking at Gengar or Misdreavus only back in these old days. So there are some Spikes yet again. Could be a Ghost for both or either player, but haven't seen one yet. Psychic there, good chunk on Zapdos. Gets them for about a third. HP Ice, far, far more common than Hidden Power Grass in this gen. Swampert, not a thing. Though Quagsire is a thing, kinda. I mean, it's not great, but it's a Pokemon. Sometimes Electrics run HP Water to hose Golem, Rhydon, Steelix, and such, but the problem with Hidden Powers in this gen is they significantly lower your stats. They reworked that in future gens, but in this gen, your Hidden Power, if you want HP Water, you have to lower one of your IVs to 20 or whatever the fuck it is. And you're actually way worse stat-wise for doing it, and there's just no way around that. Which they decided, correctly, that if Hidden Power is going to be a remotely important and viable part of the game, that needs to be changed. So obviously after Gen 2 they did change that, but in this gen, that's how it works. Also, K3NIX is laying the beat down here. He was already ahead. The Fire Blast there, which to be fair is a pretty uncommon move on Nidoking, is going to catch the Fori, and Cherryb0ng just going to stay in and allow that. And this is going to be a tough comeback now for Cherryb0ng, who's just flat out down 6-4. GSC is one of those tiers. I mean, you can make a comeback in any tier, of course, but this is one of those tiers where it's really, really domino effecty. You need A to counter B, B to counter C, C to counter D, D to counter A. That's just the way that it works. And once you start losing one piece, all of a sudden something else starts to roam free. After one domino falls, usually the next one falls as well. Machamp, it could be an issue. Executor is decent against Machamp, but that's down. Golem and Lax, obviously both weak to fighting. Zapdos is going to be his best bet here. Another good Machamp counter is Starmie, We haven't actually seen the last poke for Mr. Cherryb0ng, Mr. Hakuho Show. And I feel like I should know who that is. I don't. I'm not even, it's not like, oh, tip my tongue, I kind of know. I have no clue who it is, but I don't know. Feels like somebody who's like probably in an anime or something, and it's just not an anime, if it is even an anime character, that I have seen. But, oh man, I'm so tempted to look it up. I'm so tempted to look it up. It's got to be an anime character, right? I mean, what else could it be? I'm going to look it up on my phone. I'm going to look it up right now, and we're going to discover it together. Hakuho Show. A retired professional sumo wrestler from Mongolia. What the retired professional sumo wrestler? Who the fuck watches sumo wrestling? Who would ever know this? I guess the dude goes by Rikishi. Hakuho Show, retired sumo wrestler from Mongolia. That's kind of like an anime character. It's a suspicious name. Who watches sumo wrestling? He did that on purpose just to throw me off. Machamp coming back. Like I said, boys, I mean, I go on these tangents when one of two things happens. When I don't know what the fuck is going on, which is not the case here, or when I feel like there's not a lot to narrate and there's not a lot of room for comeback. That, I think, is applicable here. This is going to be a tough game for Cherryb0ng to come back. He's just behind in every way, losing the eggs and the 4E as early as he did, and playing a game where he will never have spikes down. It's a hard sell. We all play this game. We've all seen comebacks. Crits happen, freezes happen, nonsense happens, but I don't know about this one. There is a trade. Fori and Golem going to go, so the rapid spin never does occur, and whatever is left of this game, Cherryb0ng, our sumo wrestling enthusiast, is going to have to play with the spikes down. He still hasn't shown his last, so people who know GSC a little better than I do probably already know what the last is. I'm not sure what it is, but glimmer of hope there, perhaps, that the last Mon can come in here and do work. Big DE. Oh, bigger counter. That might be a wrap. What switches into Ice Beam here exactly? He might not have Ice Beam because he has Fire Blast. Counter Fire Blast, Earthquake. He's only got one other move, and that crit helps, by the way. But yeah, the last move is either Lovely Kiss, Ice Beam, Thunder/Thunderbolt. Nidoking is a really good move pool. Lack of move pool is certainly not Nidoking's issue. Lovely Kiss is such a good move. Couple things learned in this gen, but they realize how busted it was. So like Lovely Kiss, Nidoking, Lovely Kiss, Lax, as you know, they got rid of for Gen 3. But man, wouldn't Gen 3 be different if any of this stuff, if Golem had Rapid Spin, if Nidoking and Lax had Lovely Kiss, different world we live in. There is Machamp getting whirlwinded out. Cherryb0ng is putting up a fight. Machamp here. Yeah, I mean, it's the wrong set, so like the Zapdos really does neutralize it. If he had Rock Slide, obviously this would be a far bigger issue. And actually that crit is really relevant too, so maybe Cherryb0ng is going to use the force here and come back. He's just getting killed by Zapdos. Is Cherryb0ng going to win? Is the Zapdos just unstoppable here? He's trying to lefty it up by sacrificing everything. Machamp, like I said, if it were a Rock Slide set, could maybe get the job done here, but it kind of looks like Cherryb0ng is going to come back and win this game. Curse is not what he wanted to find there. He survives, and he gets rust off in his sleep. Fair enough. But yeah, Cross Chop pending crit. Well, there's a crit for Zapdos, but penning a crit is not that exciting against Zapdos. A critical hit there would have come up a point short, but like you can see how we can get there. But yeah, with a crit, nope. And now it's actually Cherryb0ng in the lead somehow. He's been behind all damn game. And his last poke, whack. That's gotta be it, right? SD, failed sleep talk. Yeah, I'm surprised. This looked really good for K3NIX until it didn't. Hidden power. I guess you have the chance to miss Rock Slide, but that is not what occurred. And we even get a message here. In Gen 2, a stat will roll over to a small number if it is larger than 1024, says Rock Slide. So was he not supposed to Swords Dance a second time? Did he fuck up the DVs? Yeah, he Swords Danced twice, and he rolled it over. Oh man, what an awkward game. What an awkward fucking game this was. I didn't think Cherryb0ng was going to win this. I don't know that he was supposed to win it, especially when he SD'd twice and fucked up the DVs and rolled over. That is not a thing that's supposed to happen. But, okay, this is a messy one. The bottom line is that Cherryb0ng takes game one, but this cannot be the proudest moment for either individual. Probably more embarrassing. I don't know. Is it more embarrassing for the guy who fucked up and DV'd his Marowak wrong and like almost punted, or for the guy who lost to the fucked up Marowak? It feels pretty embarrassing in either case. But Cherryb0ng with the victory. And he's going to be one game away for putting his team through 2 balls and a bong to the next round. K3NIX with the Timezone Warriors alongside Sky Penguin and Arctic is going to have to get the W here twice in a row to put his team through. So let's go ahead and move on to game 2. And we'll switch sides for continuity. So K3NIX as Eduardo Carapinga is going to be on the bottom. And the sumo wrestling enthusiast, Cherryb0ng, Hakuho Sho on the top. Cloyster led. Cloyster did not appreciate coming into Zapdos. Out of the way we go. Little switcheroony going on here. And there is a Toxic hitting Raikou. Sorry, somebody messaged me on Discord, dealing with that on my phone. Always problems. Nobody can ever leave me alone. I'm trying to narrate in peace. Some motherfucker with some motherfucking problem. Motherfucking chump. It's rough, guys. It's a tough life. Anyhow, continuing on with this GSC narration. I saw Mischievous, and I figured it was going to be some kind of Spike's turn. Lo and behold, here we are. And looks like a Spike's... I mean, I say Spike's like it is in... It's not like it is in future gens. Certainly Gen 3. Spikes in GSC are almost ubiquitous. That just kind of... Most people run Spikes. That's just kind of how it goes. But yeah, it's a more offense-leaning Spikes team for Cherryb0ng on the top. And clearly a more defense-stally team for K3NIX on the bottom. When you see Mischievous, you think that it's there to protect Spikes. So I knew that there was going to be some fat stuff. And we've got double steal going, in fact, for K3NIX. You know, for GSC, which, I mean, it's not RBY, but it's not exactly the biggest pool in the world. It isn't exactly the most Pokemans. But for GSC, there's not that much overlap. Every team is going to have Lax, obviously. It's a universal bring. It's strictly wrong in any case to not bring Lax. It's just wrong. It's that good. But it looks like, I mean, we don't know the last poke for Cherryb0ng, but these teams only have 2 Mons in common, which is refreshing because, like I said, there's really only 15, 20 remotely viable Mons in this tier. Narrator's got a drink. There is Heracross, so it is official. Only 2 Mons in common. But like I said, they've opted to go very different ways with it. It's interesting that Cherryb0ng's team, and I don't know that it matters as much in GSC, but I guess neither of them do, actually. So neither of them think it matters. But yeah, there's no rock resist for either guy, but I mean, there's no Dragon Dance in this tier, so you don't have to worry about DD Tar, DD Mence, those kind of shenanigans. There is T-Tar, of course, as we see, and it does, in fact, often carry Rock Slide, but not as big of a deal. Lots of stuff carries Rock Slide. Golem has it. Machamp can have it. Rhydon's not so common these days. He's really dropped off in favor of Golem. Little history lesson. I don't know the exact year, but there was a very long time in GSC where Golem was seldom used or just not used at all. It was not considered a good poke. It just wasn't part of the metagame, but the world has changed. I don't know what year it was, maybe 5 years ago or so, where people started really taking Golem seriously, and it just went up and up and up in popularity, and now it is super duper an OU staple and considered 100% viable. Even old metagames like this, and an old man like me, I used to play these games on cartridge, on the school bus. I mean, these are old games. I was just a wee lad. This is before many of you listening were born. But even old games like this, the meta does change and evolve with time. Maybe less so with 1 and 2 because it's more limited, because there's only so many people that still play those tiers on a remotely regular basis. But, you know, ADV still certainly makes progress, though it is probably the most popular and most active old gen. But, yeah, as a whole, slowly but surely, as much as we think that we have these metagames figured out, and we do mostly, there's always new stuff. There's always innovation. I remember when Nightmare Starmie first got shown in SPL. That was only, again, 4 or 5 years ago, whatever it was. That was an innovation at the time. People come up with new stuff. You can, in fact, teach an old dog new tricks. Well, GSC, I'm not trying to perpetuate the stereotype or whatever. I mean, not every GSC game is a fucking 800 turn snooze fest or whatever. But a lot of the time, it is a slower tier, and games do go longer. And we're seeing that here. Here we are 50 turns in a 5-5. It very well could take a minute to wrap this up, especially with K3NIX bringing what is clearly a very stally team. T-Tar sometimes carries rest to remove that poison, but this particular one, as we see here, Rock Slide, D-Punch, Screech, Earthquake, does not have rest and cannot get rid of that. Poison and just status in general, Poison, Leech Seed, Burn, whatever, not nearly as devastating in this gen as it is in future gens. Toxic is very manageable in Gen 2, but nevertheless, it's obviously not something that you want to have or that benefits you to have. And like we said, Tar can't remove that. This is intended to be a very aggressive team for Cherryb0ng. He doesn't have a ton of things with rest. T-Tar doesn't have it. Executor doesn't have it. Cloyster, I would say, basically certainly didn't have it. Little more aggro, whereas basically the entire team, maybe not Mischievous, but a lot of rest going on the bottom side here. What does the Mischievous have? It has Toxic. Perfect. But yeah, this is pure stall for K3NIX on the bottom. Psychic there is a good chunk. 45% is pretty big. Here comes the T-Tar. Pretty low after all that. Spike and Poison and T-Bolt. But nevertheless gets out of the way. Is T-Tar faster than Mischievous? Is Mischievous that slow? 127 to 220. No, Mischievous was faster there. I'm not sure. I don't know why Mischievous didn't click T-Bolt again. There's things about this tier, things about this world that I just don't understand. Mischievous is faster, and you click T-Bolt there. That's what I would have done. But that's not what K3NIX would do. And Cherryb0ng is an unhappy camper. He clicks Explosion. He explodes into the Mischievous, which is like exploding into thin air. He says, quote, "This game sucked ass," and concedes. That is going to make me... That's going to put me under the impression, and I don't want to put words in his mouth. You guys can decipher "this game sucked ass" and then conceding however you'd like. That's going to put me under the impression that he wasn't pleased with the way that this game went. Perhaps with some RNG, perhaps with the way that he played it, perhaps with something else. The world may never know. But I interpret that as being displeased. So, let's move on to a game that he might be more pleased with, which is a third game, because Game 1 and Game 2 don't matter anymore. It is this game and only this game, and it will determine the fate of their respective teams. Will it be the Timezone Warriors, that's K3NIX's team, or will it be 2 balls and a bong? That would be Cherryb0ng's team. Get it? 2 balls and a bong. Bong, like Cherryb0ng. It's not the most... I like 2 balls and a dong, because I have that kind of mind. But they saw it differently. Maybe they did it on purpose. Get the pun in there. Let's get to it. Oh yeah, I don't know if I did this video or not. It all blurs together. But link to the Discord server in the description. Please consider donating. Please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. There's probably more. We'll say that's good. Third and final. Eduardo Carapinga, K3NIX on the bottom. Hakuho Sho, the Mongolian sumo wrestler extraordinaire, or just Cherryb0ng, on the top. Both lead lax. Lovely Kiss misses. Lovely Kiss hits. I don't know what I meant to say hits. It was like hats. I was going to go for connects, right? But then I said hits, and I mangled them together so it hets. Like it connects and it hits. It hets. I mean, that's how stupid words get invented all the time on social media. So I don't know why I can't invent a new word. So we have a Steelix. That is the first time in the series that we've seen that Mon. Cherryb0ng, T-Tar fan here, has opted to bring that poke a second time. Flamethrower, neutral damage on Cloyster with its awful special defense. It still does 40%. And Zapdos comes in to a Toxic. Fair enough. Cloyster on Cloyster action now. Only briefly. They get a quick passing glance. The romance that could have been. 2 Cloysters passing in the night. Maybe it wasn't meant to be. Or they might see each other again. They're both still alive. But in the meantime, we've got Lax on Lax. And that's a romance I don't want to see. Those are 2 biggins. But we've got S-Talk Rest. And there is Curse coming down. S-Talk Rest again. That's a big double edge. She's not going to live another one of those. Wakes up and curses. That's a dangerous game. If he gets crit or loses the speed tie, Lax is dead. I don't know about this. Well, he wins the speed tie, but that's some dangerous shit right there. If K3NIX had killed the opposing Lax basically for free, I don't know how Cherryb0ng would just come back from that after losing the most valuable Mon in the tier, the best Mon in the tier. This could get ugly either way, though. I mean, when they're both accumulating this many boosts. Yeah, I mean, especially the more boosted they get, the harder it is to switch into them, and one crit could really, really decide it. But yeah, K3NIX has seen enough. He's going to go to Steelix here. He's going to get cursing with that as well. Sleep Talk Double Edge, really underwhelming, 17%. Steelix is a very good counter to this set of Lax. Now, granted, that Earthquake was not very exciting, but neither are the Double Edges, though obviously a crit helps, 32%. Zapdos in, still poisoned from before. And that's going to blank the Earthquake there. Not able to pull the trigger on the Roar. So the threat of the Lax on Lax Curse Fest has been averted for now, but we very well may see something like that again. Zapdos switches into Cloyster. That also gets hit with Toxic, so both Electric Birds are suffering from the poison. Golem comes in blanking Thunder and threatening Rapid Spin here. Those Zapdos could get him with Hidden Power, which Cherryb0ng is wisely going to scout for. And he does go for Hidden Power there. Not clear if that's Ice or Water, but good thing he got out of the way. Cherryb0ng begins cursing up, but Steelix seems to really be a foil for the set that he brought. Cloyster comes in, Cloyster goes out. Ooh, Alakazam in the back for Cherryb0ng. Not a super common mon in GSC. Was way more popular and frankly way better in RBY, but a little bit of love every now and then. It's like right on the fringe of what is viable. It's not a good mon, but it gets used more than actual never, so it's something in the metagame, even if it's on the fringe edge of the metagame. Still 2 unrevealeds for K3NIX as well. That is clearly not HP Water, or Golem would have had his socks that he doesn't wear rocked off. So HP Ice, and he gets a Rapid Spin off in exchange for that. 44 damage, though, is a lot on Golem. Out of the way. Zam is sleeping at the moment. And we end up with Tara on Cloyster. The Cloyster reunion is just, it's not meant to be. They caught a glance of each other. They fell in love. And they're never to see each other again. It's like that song. Saw your face, crowded place, don't know what to do. Hidden Power again. Both suffering poison. Thunder going to miss. I don't think it matters because he probably, I'm going to say he's probably going to rest. Just kidding. He's going to double edge. Thunder could have mattered. Well, now Zapdos is going to have to rest if he has that option, which he does. And Lax is going to keep double edging, but between the recoil and the poison, there's a limit on how many times he could do that. He also doesn't want to get hit with Thunder in his sleep, but that is not what occurs. It is rest in his sleep, which, you know, rest is what most of us do while we sleep. Makes sense to me. Sleep talk rest, sure. Man, who needs rest? Just going to double edge until I die. I'm at 3%. 9%. Well, he doesn't get hit with Thunder, which would have killed him. He's not even resting. He's just double edging. K3NIX doesn't care about his Lax. Lax isn't even good. Just double edge. So they both have Psychics in the back. Interesting. Espeon now. That's a +1 Psychic thanks to Growth. This is back in the Dark Ages before Calm Mind. Amnesia was too good in Gen 1. So they nerfed it and gave you shitty Growth in Gen 2, which is a garbage move. And then I guess the Goldilocks that they could come up with was Calm Mind, which might still be too good. But it's not broken. It's a good move. It's a very good move. But it's not busted. Growth is kind of balls, but it is used a little bit in this gen, mostly by EV evolutions. Vaporeon and Espeon, the two big ones that immediately come to mind. Here comes Cloyster. Earthquake. Man, I was hoping. I was hoping after the one... Oh, wait. That's not the way to start a romance. I was hoping after the one time they'd reunite, and just at the end when they see each other again, it's like Romeo and Juliet. It's right after, it's right as one of them is to die that they finally get to be together. It's poetic, but it's very sad. It's Shakespearean. We've got a good one here. This one's like worth vaguely narrating. Got ourselves a 3-3. It's close, and this is for the match. Growth again, and rest in his sleep. Psychic's about to come down, and they hurt. Growth again. Sleep Talk Double Edge, which Espeon not a fan of. Not exactly a bulky poke. Zapper in. And Morning Sun, which, because there's no sand, is basically recover. However, It's got way less PP. I think it only has 8, but let me just go ahead and check on that. It does. See, I know my PP. Giggity. It has 8 PP. 7 now after Morning Sun. Or after using 1 Morning Sun. Psychic dead. I don't know why he switched the lax out, by the way. Not clear why he didn't just stay in. Because couldn't he have just woken up and double-edged again? I don't know. I don't understand the way this was played. I think he should have stayed in, though. I don't know why the very healthy lax that was due to wake up got out of the way. That is unclear to me. But I don't know why you would enable that Morning Sun. I think you eat the double, or if he's got a psychic, you eat it and you kill him with double edge. Oh God. Wow. Cherryb0ng is quite tilted, it seems. I'm not sure. I don't know this tier well enough to know like exactly what he's unhappy with or what he thinks he should have done differently, but he says, I don't know why I'm even playing at this point anymore, and then concedes. So I don't know if he's mad at luck or mad at himself. Like I said, I don't know the tier well enough to know what he should have been doing and what specifically he's displeased with, but something about this set, whether it's his own play or whether it's RNG or whether it's being aggravated because of whatever beef he has with K3NIX, who knows. But Cherryb0ng, clearly an unhappy camper, and he's going to say exactly what I just quoted. I don't know why I'm even playing at this point anymore, and then he's going to just concede. Yeah, I guess he feels like he threw. I mean, at this point he's dead, right? Because he Espeon Psychics, it dies, and then T-Tar comes in, gets outsped by the Espeon, hidden power, which is almost always water, just kills him. So like it wasn't a premature concession. He was dead here, and there was no way around it. But it's unlike him to say something like that as he leaves. It was not a premature concession, like I said. It was over, but man, the frustration really coming out. He's really displeased with the way that this went. I don't know the tier well enough, and I don't have enough time because I just have so many games to narrate to go back and like watch this a little more properly, watch it slowly, take an hour, go turn by turn. I wish I could because I genuinely enjoy GSC. There's just not enough hours in the day. But yeah, I hope you guys derived entertainment from this. I already did my whole like, subscribe spiel, so I'm not going to give you that again. The result is going to be a 2-1 victory for K3NIX. It's going to be the Timezone Warriors to the next round, and it's going to be 2 balls and a bong eliminated. And that's that. Appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you in the next video.